Now out of the hatch is NASA astronaut Nicole Ayers. Again, today is her first spacewalk, and this is the third for NASA astronaut Ann McClain.
All right, some really cool, out-of-this-world history being made here. Leading off with the future of everything with views from space, two NASA astronauts spent 6+ hours outside the ISS today installing some new equipment. It is the 5th ever all-female spacewalk. Anna McClain was supposed to take part in the first all-female spacewalk 6 years ago, but there weren't enough spacesuits in her size. It's been a busy 24 hours on board the ISS. Yesterday, there was a potentially dangerous moment for the crew when a piece of space junk came a little too close for comfort. NASA says a fragment from a Chinese rocket forced the crew to use thrusters to change the space station's orbit and avoid the debris. Now, this kind of thing has happened before, but it's just happening more and more often now because there's just more junk spinning up around there, some of it alarmingly large. According to the European Space Agency, there are almost 1 million objects orbiting Earth right now, big enough to cause something, quote, catastrophic. Even more scary is the growing risk for us down here. In 2024, the amount of space junk that re-entered the Earth's atmosphere jumped up to an average of more than 3 times a day. Curious exactly how large those pieces are. Joining me now, former NASA astronaut Leroy Chiao. Leroy, thank you for taking time for us tonight. I mean, first of all, how close of a call was this? And when we talk about space junk, what does that entail?
Well, sure. A lot of the space junk up there are old boosters, old upper stages, pieces of old satellites, things like that. But there's a lot of micrometeoroid debris too, just basically rocks. Right? Natural phenomenon. So those are the things we worry about most, is what's up there that we might collide with. And in this case, it came pretty close. It came within, the estimate was going to be within 0.4 miles of the ISS. There's a box that's defined that if a piece of debris is predicted to come inside of that box, the ISS will maneuver to change orbit to, give it a wider berth. So that's what happened here. It was a Chinese booster, something from a Long March 5 that was launched a couple of years ago. That rocket in particular, the trajectory is designed such that it leaves that entire huge first stage booster in orbit for a number of years before it finally decays and comes back to Earth. Now, we would never design a rocket like that. It's somewhat irresponsible, but the good news is it's huge, and so it's easily trackable and we can easily avoid it.
Okay, because I'm imagining a lot of these pieces of space junk are not as easily trackable. Does this pose a risk for future space missions?
Well, sure. Both, human-made and natural debris up there is our biggest concern. And so we do track, the Defense Department does track objects that are basically larger than a softball. But even something that is around a softball size could ruin your day, right? That's why all spacecraft are shielded, including the ISS. When I was aboard the ISS and we hear a noise, we didn't know if that was an impact. We didn't know if it was some thermal, creaking due to thermal differences. And so we'd immediately go and look at the very accurate pressure gauge to make sure that the pressure wasn't falling. We're drilled, just like submarine crews are, to isolate leaks, close hatches, and never put yourself between a closed hatch and an escape route.
Leroy, it should be noted, you also had 6 spacewalks, so you have a fair amount of knowledge and skill in this practice. So listen, thank you for lending some of your expertise tonight. It was great to talk to you, and hopefully the space junk avoids us here on Earth. Thank you, my friend. That is going to do it for us tonight. I'm Sam Brock. We will see you tomorrow, but until then, stay tuned now.